Hello everyone, I'm Mervin. Today we're going to see what is Azure App Insights and how to use it in your Angular apps. Before starting with the codes, let's see what App Insights is. So App Insights is an extension of Azure Monitor and gives us the ability to monitor performance of our app. It can be used from the initial stages of development to testing and all the way up to production. We can gather, analyze, and visualize logs for applications running in local, on-prem, and even for apps which are not on Azure. As for many services on Azure, App Insights works with Java, .NET, Python, Angular, and many popular languages. For more information, you can check the official documentations. We are now on the official page. We are given details about this service for different languages. Let's get started in creating our application insights. Once we are logged in the Azure portal, we can see application insights under Azure services, but if we don't, we can search for it. Next, we click on Create. On this page, we are asked to fill in several information required to create our application insights. The first one is the resource group. If we don't have a resource group, we can create a new one by clicking here, but if we do, we can click on the drop down and select whichever one we want to use. In my case, I will use Azure App Insights Test 1. The next field is the name of the application insight. I will be calling mine Demo App Insight. Next is the region. You can choose a region closest to you, but if you don't find it, you can leave it as default. We can leave the other fields also as default. We click on Review and Create. There will be some validation running to check if all the information are valid. This can take a couple of minutes. So now we can see that all the validation has passed. We can create the application insight. Click on Create. This process can take several minutes, so I will pause the video. Our application insight is now created. We can click on Go to Resource. On this page, we can see several information pertaining to the application insight. Here is the resource group that we've chosen. Next, we can see instrumentation key and connection string. These two are generated values and are important whenever we're going to link our application to App Insight. Now that we have created our App Insight, we can get started in adding it in our project. As always, it is good to check the documentations and any resource available online beforehand. The first documentation is the one provided by Microsoft. It gives us a step-by-step description of what should be done to add it in our Angular app, and the second documentation is this plug on C# corner. I have created a default Angular app. Also, we will be using the official documentation by Microsoft as a guide for our integration. We'll notice that we have already completed step 1, which is creating App Insight on the Azure portal. In the second step, we will configure Angular application and include dependencies. In this step, the first thing that we will need to do is to add the instrumentation key in the environment variable. So we go back to our Angular project and we'll notice that for new Angular project, we don't have the environment files. We'll need to generate them using ng generate environments. Okay, now we have the environments folder created. with the two files that we will need. So let's go ahead and copy this code from the documentation and paste it in our files. So we delete this part and this part. So we will need to provide our instrumentation key. For this one, we will get it from the Azure portal right here in our App Insights. So we can copy it and paste it here. And we'll notice that this is a string. We will also copy the instrumentation key in the environment.development.ts file. Let's go back to the documentation. As per the guide, the next step will be to add the dependencies. We are given the dependency to be added in the package.json file. If we look at the C# corner block, we are given the npm install command for it. So we will be using this one, so I copy it, paste it and run it in our project. This operation might take several minutes. So now we have the package installed in our project. We will see that we have completed step 2. In step 3, we will consume the Application Insights SDK in TypeScript. Before getting started with this step, we will need to create a new folder under App called Service. The first file that we will create as part of step 3 is the logging.service.ts. We will create this file in the service folder. All the codes required in this file is provided in the documentation, so we can copy it directly from the documentation and paste it in our project. There is a missing closing bracket, so we will add it. Scrolling up in this file, we will see that there are two errors. The first one in injectable and the second in environment. To clear these errors, we will need to import them. After clearing these two errors, there is a third one coming, which is in instrumentation key. We are getting this error because in the environment.ts file, we need to go through environment, then App Insights to get the instrumentation key. To fix this error, we need to correct this path. After environment, we need to access Application Insights, then we get the instrumentation key. We can see that we have successfully created the logging.service file. The next step is to create an instance of this service in the app component class. To do so, we open the app.component.ts file, and in the constructor, we will create the instance of this class. Let's call it monitoring service. We have now also completed this part. By completing this part, we have also completed step 3. So now our application can consume Application Insights SDK in TypeScript. Now our application can send logs to App Insight. It is better to catch all the exceptions in a global error handler and log it to App Insight. Step 4 allows us to achieve this. To do so, we need to create a new file in the service folder called errorhandlerservice.service.ts. The code for this new service is provided in step 4, so we can copy it. Back in our code, we create the new file under service and paste it. We will notice that there are some errors. Most of it can be resolved by doing the necessary import. The first two errors disappeared once we import them from Angular Core. Next, we will import My Monitoring Service. Now we are only left with two errors. For the error on line 11, the handle error function, we will need to override this function. For the logging service, we will need to replace it by My Monitoring Service. Now all the errors have disappeared. Our global error handler is completed. We have completed the creation of all the services. These services are dependencies which we need to inject. This is done by adding them in the providers in app.module.ts. In providers on line 15, we'll add My Monitoring Service. And with this special syntax, we will add error handler and error handler service. We have now completed all the setup and wiring required to use App Insight in our Angular app. We will now add some functionalities to the default Angular project. Let's keep it simple. We will only add a web service call using promises in the ng-init function of the app.component.ts file. I will get the code for a promise in this blog here and C# corner. I copy it and paste it in the ng-init. This promise is calling a free API that gets information about a dummy posed by ID. An ID cannot be negative, so if we pass a negative value to the web service, it will return an error. So we will pass -1 instead of 1. All the codes are now completed. Let's save the project. If you're getting these errors while saving the application, don't worry. There is already an open issue about it. So in this command, we have the matrix for all the compatible version. So we will downgrade our version of Application Insight to a lower one. For example, 2.8.12. Let's save it. And run the npm install. As per the open issue, this problem will be resolved soon, so we can keep checking when the fix is available. So the npm install has been successful. Now let's try to save the application again. The app is running successfully. Don't forget to keep checking the compatibility matrix to know when the fix is available. Since we are generating an error in the ng init, before testing, let's open the console. Now we navigate to our localhost. We can see that we are having an error, which is due to the negative value of the ID. Let's navigate to our App Insight on the Azure portal. We will click on Failures. Since our app is a front-end one, we click on Browser. The log may take some minutes to appear. Don't worry. You can click on the refresh button until you find it appearing. Here we can see that there is an error. We can deep dive further by clicking on it. Can click on it here. We'll have some information about the duration, for example. Let's click on the arrow. And here we'll find more information like the name of the service failing, the result code, the command, and the HTTP method, among others. In this video, we have seen what is Azure App Insight and how to create one in the Azure portal. We have also added it in our Angular app and see how to check the errors logged there. I hope this will help you.